Hi, third year students, how are you? So in today's lesson, we're going to look at comparatives, okay? So this is from Unit 9 of the Global Intermediate book. We're going to do, actually in this section, we're going to look at comparatives and superlatives. But we're going to look at superlatives in the next lesson. And today we're going to concentrate on comparatives, and that includes looking also at the structure as and or not as, okay, and also these comparative adjectives. We're going to use them with modifiers like a bit, a little, or much, or a lot, or far, for example. Okay, okay, and well, the topic of today's lesson is sport. Okay, so I'm a big sports fan, and hopefully some of you like sport and will enjoy this. Okay, so look at the two pictures. Okay, you can see we have in the first picture we have football, right? And in the second picture, basketball. And two questions for you to discuss in pairs, or if you're on your own, then write some keywords on a piece of paper. Okay, so what makes a good sports team? And think of two rival teams. How do they compare? Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about two rival sports teams. Okay. And I have two tasks for you. One, I want you to listen for the two sports teams. Okay. What are they? And which do I think is going to win the game this weekend? Okay. The second task is I want you to write down all the adjectives that you hear. Okay, so ready? Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about two English Premier League teams that are Manchester City and Liverpool, who are big rivals at the moment because they are the two best teams in the English Premier League. Okay, and they're going to play each other this Sunday. So everyone who likes football in the UK and in other parts of the world are very excited about this game. Okay, so I'm going to compare the two teams and tell you which I think is going to win and why. Okay, so well, first I should probably introduce the two teams geographically. Okay, so well, both are in the northwest of England. Okay, um, so Liverpool is on the is further west. Okay, so on Liverpool Bay of the Irish Sea, and Manchester is further north. Okay, and to the east, a little further north. Okay. And well, let's compare the two football teams now. Okay, so let's start with the defense. Okay, so yeah, first, I mean, in terms of the defenses, we can say that maybe Liverpool have a little more height, right? So Van Dijk is a bit taller and a bit bigger than the Manchester City defenders. Okay, also, I should probably say that I mean both defenses were better last season. Okay, um, this season maybe there isn't a lot between the two. Okay, if we talk about the fullbacks, okay, well I think it's fair to say that Liverpool's fullbacks are far more creative than Manchester City's fullbacks. And I think there is a reason for this. They're not necessarily better players, but it's because of the style or the tactics of Liverpool and Manchester City, right? So the thing is that Manchester City's fullbacks are are less offensive than Liverpool's fullbacks. Okay, so the manager, he asks them not to go too far up the field, so that they don't leave the defense unprotected. Okay, okay. Let's talk about the midfield briefly. Okay, so I think we can say that probably Liverpool's midfield is not as creative as Man City's midfield. Okay, um, maybe Man City there have some more creative players. Okay, like for example Kevin De Bruyne, right? David Silva, yeah. Okay, well, the attack. Okay, I think that again, this is to do with style. Okay, or tactics, right? So I think that Liverpool, if we talk about Liverpool, I think their attacks are a bit faster than Manchester City. So Manchester City, I think, probably make more passes in the midfield than Liverpool. Okay. Okay, so we've done defense, midfield, attack. Let's talk about the two goalkeepers. Okay, so I mean, I think there's very little between them. Okay, so in fact, they're both Brazilian, and although Alisson, Liverpool's goalkeeper, plays in the national team, he's the number one goalkeeper, and Edison is the number two goalkeeper. Despite that, I would say that Edison is as good as Alisson. I think they have slightly different attributes, but they're both excellent goalkeepers. Okay. Okay, so well, finally, let's talk about the two managers. Okay, so um, I think again they're both excellent managers. Okay, so I wouldn't really choose one above the other. I would just say that I mean I really like Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool's manager. I think he's a lot funnier than Pep Guardiola, he's more serious. Okay, and okay, well, as a conclusion now, which do I think is going to win? I think Liverpool are going to win the game on Sunday for two main reasons. They have the home advantage. They're playing in their stadium at Anfield. Okay. Also, I think that Manchester City have some injury problems in key areas. So there is a doubt if their goalkeeper Edison will play or not, and also they're missing a couple of important central defenders. Okay, so I think they're going to be vulnerable, and I think Liverpool are going to win this game. Okay, so how did you do with those tasks? Okay, so the two teams were Liverpool and Manchester City, and I think that Liverpool are going to win the game this Sunday. Okay, and the adjectives. So there were 10 adjectives. Okay, so there was far, tall, big, good, offensive, creative, fast, excellent, funny, and serious. Now, maybe you wrote the comparative form because you heard, in most cases, the comparative form. So maybe you wrote further, right? Taller, bigger, better, more offensive, more creative, right? Faster, funnier, okay, more serious. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to form the comparatives from the adjectives. Okay. Okay, so how do we form the comparatives? Okay, so first you have to look at the number of syllables, okay, or if the adjectives are long or short. Okay, so because short adjectives, okay, of one syllable, right, you just add er. Okay, so the adjective fast, fast, one syllable. Okay, so we add er to fast and we get faster. Okay, but there is a spelling change in this situation. Okay, so when a one-syllable adjective ends with one consonant, double the final consonant and add er. For example, the adjective hot ends in one consonant because the previous letter is a vowel. Okay, so here we double the final consonant, T, so double T, and then add er, hotter. Okay, the same with big. Okay, it's one syllable, big. Okay, ends in G, a consonant, only one consonant because the previous letter I is a vowel. Okay, so we double the G, double G, and add er, bigger. Okay. Okay. So for example, we had Van Dijk is bigger than um, the Manchester City defenders. Okay. Or we had, for example, uh, the attacks. Liverpool's attacks are faster than Manchester City's attacks. Okay. Okay. Then adjectives ending in Y. Okay. Change the Y to I and add er. Okay. So we have funny ends in Y. Change this Y to an I and then add er. So funnier. Okay. We had Jurgen Klopp is funnier than Pep Guardiola. Okay. Okay. Another example. Pretty. Same thing. Change the Y to I. Add er. Prettier. Okay. Okay. The other one. Two or more syllable adjectives. Okay. Use more and then add the adjective. Okay. So the adjective creative. That's three syllables, right? Da da da. 1, 2, 3. Creative. Okay. So we're going to apply this rule. Okay, so more plus adjective, more creative. Okay. For example, we said Liverpool's fullbacks are more creative than Manchester City's fullbacks. Okay. Offensive. Three syllables again. Yeah. Da da da. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So again, yeah. More plus adjective, more offensive. Okay. For example, we had that we can say Liverpool's fullbacks are more offensive than Manchester City's fullbacks. Okay. Irregular adjectives. So basically, good we changed to better. We said both defenses were better last season. Okay. Bad changed to worse, and far changed to further in British English and farther in American English. Okay, I'm British, so I say further. Okay, so I said, for example, that Manchester is a little further north than Liverpool. Okay. Okay, just a few more things to think about, right? Okay, first, the opposite of more is less. Okay, so for example, we talk about international football. The current England players are less experienced than the French players. Okay, so instead of more experience, we just change more for less. So it's less plus the adjective. Okay, less experience than the French players. Okay, another thing is we can modify comparatives with a bit, a little, and slightly. For example, Van Dijk is slightly older than Salah. Okay, so this means slightly means a little. Yeah, so the difference is small. Okay, so I forget the age, but I think Van Dijk is 1 year older, only 1 year older than Salah. So it's a small difference. Okay, and in the same way, we can say Van Dijk is a bit older, right, than Salah, or Van Dijk is a little older than Salah. Okay. Okay, and we can also modify comparatives with a lot, much, and far, right? So this is when the difference is a big difference. Okay, a big difference. For example, Oxlade-Chamberlain, okay, another Liverpool player, okay, is a lot quicker than David Silva. Okay, so all we do here is we already had for one syllable adjectives, we said add er, right? So Oxlade-Chamberlain is quicker than David Silva. So all we do is add a lot, yeah, before the comparative form of the adjective. So it's a lot quicker, okay? And the other thing to think about is the use of as. Okay, so we use this to say two things or people are the same. Okay, for example, John Stones is as tall as Dejan Lovren. Okay, that means they have the same height. Yeah. Notice also the pronunciation there. So the word as in the phrase is pronounced us. Okay, a weak sound. Okay, so it's again, John Stones is as tall as Dejan Lovren. Okay, and also we can use this in the negative form. Okay, so use not as for a negative comparison. Okay, for example, Otamendi is not as tall as Van Dijk. Okay, and yeah, so for the structure here, you just have to use as, right, or not as if it's negative, then the adjective, okay, then as, and then the thing or the person that you are making the comparison with. So in this case, it's Otamendi with Van Dijk. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to apply the rules to see if we can remember some of my talk comparing Liverpool with Manchester City. Okay, so first thing, take a look at the example here. Okay, number 1. Right, so it says here Manchester is a little further north than Liverpool. Okay, so you can see that in brackets you have here a little and far, and you have to complete the sentence using those words. Okay, so in this case, far is the adjective, a little is the modifier, so we just have to change the adjective, make it the comparative. It's irregular, and because I'm British, I wrote further. If you prefer American English, then farther is also correct. Okay, so now do the same for 2 through to 5. Okay, pause the video, try that, and then we'll correct it together. Okay. Okay, so how did you go? Let's go through them one by one. Okay, so pen ready. Okay, so number 2. Okay, so we have Van Dijk is. Then we have the City defenders, and we have a bit, and the adjective is big. Okay, big. How many syllables? 1 syllable. Okay, so we have to add er, but also there is a spelling change. Okay, so because here big ends in a consonant, only 1 consonant, right? Because the previous letter I, yeah, is a vowel. Okay, so we're going to double that final consonant G. Okay, so, and then we have a bit. So a bit, the modifier goes before the adjective. Okay, so we have Van Dijk is a bit bigger okay, double G, right, than the City defenders, okay. Number 3, both defenses were, and then last season, and the adjective is good. So here there's no modifier, only good, and this is irregular, okay. So the comparative is better, yeah. Both defenses were better, right? Both defenses were better than last season, okay. Number 4, Liverpool's fullbacks are, and we have far and creative, okay. So creative, how many syllables? Creative, 3, yeah. So if it's more than 2 syllables, we have to use more plus the adjective, okay. So, and the modifier is far, so it's far more creative. Okay, Liverpool's fullbacks are far more creative. Okay, Liverpool's fullbacks are far more creative. Okay, and 5, City's fullbacks are, parenthesis, less and offensive. Okay, so all we need to do here is, we already have the word less instead of more, less, okay, and offensive is 3 syllables, yeah, offensive, okay, but basically we just have to write less and then offensive, it's the same, yeah. Okay, so these fullbacks are less offensive. Okay, so that one was easier, right? That's also a comparative, yeah? Easy, easier. That one was easier than the others. Okay, so there we go. Okay, I just have a few more for you. Okay, so the first one, okay, so number 6, same as before, yeah, just take, well, before you do that, let's look at the other 2, which are slightly different. Okay, so for the second part, number 1, here's the example. Okay, so it says, Liverpool's fullbacks are more offensive than City's. Okay, you have to change that to write that sentence again, but using, right, not as. Okay, and it's the example. So you write equals City's fullbacks are not as offensive as Liverpool's. Okay, so it means the same thing, right? Okay, and do the same for number 2, right? City's midfield is more creative than Liverpool's. Change that using not as. Okay, so equals Liverpool's, right? And finish that sentence. Okay, and then, so pause the video. Yeah, try that, those 2, and we'll check together. Okay. Okay, so how did you do? First one, number 6, yeah, so it says Klopp is than Guardiola, and in parentheses, a lot funny. Okay, so let's get my pen ready again. Always forget to do this, and I only have 2 hands. Okay, so funny ends in Y. Okay, so we have to, so we've got the modifier a lot, and we need to change funny, change the Y to an I, and then add ER. Okay, so we get Klopp is a lot funnier, okay, than Guardiola. Yeah, Klopp is a lot funnier than Guardiola. Okay, right, now let's take a look at number 2 in the other part. Okay, so City's midfield is more creative than Liverpool's. We're using not as. Okay, so We've got the adjective, right? Creative. I'm going to use the same adjective. Yeah. So we've got Liverpool's midfield, right? Yeah. Liverpool's midfield is. We're using not as, so we use not as, then the adjective, creative. Okay. As, and then what are we comparing it with? Manchester City's midfield. Okay, so we can just write as cities. Okay. Did you get that? So Liverpool's midfield is not as creative as cities. That's it. Okay, so I hope you found that lesson useful today. Okay, remember that in the next lesson. Okay, we're going to do some work on superlatives. Okay, so see you next time.